gentlemen, welcome to Tome Talk. I'm your host, Brinzel. We got Buzz, Ghost, Kinoon, Zemi. We are back. We had a little bit of a faux pas last week, and just with scheduling conflicts and my chopping off a finger to pay for my copy of Black Desert, we weren't able to do the show. Sorry. We're here this weekend. Anyways, guys, a couple of things for you. Make sure you check us out and follow us on YouTube. Black Desert Tome-EN. We'll be hosting and putting up all the videos and cool shit that you guys want. Yeah. So how was everybody's Thanksgiving?
It was pretty good. Lounged around about the whole time. Right by a fucking lake fishing, so I enjoyed it.
Not as interesting as yours. I promise that one.
I was still recovering from my 44-hour marathon stream.
Fuck, well, at least everybody had a better time than I did. I'm trying to say that I didn't remember it, but, you know, god damn it, they didn't give me enough drugs. Whatever. Been an exciting week, though. I mean, there's tons of press releases. Hey, we got fucking CBT going live on the 16th. I'm pretty sure, yeah, the 16th. Yeah. Not quite certain how I'm going to go through with that, but I'll figure it out. That's my new game plan. I'm going to one-handed master this game. It'll be awesome.
Your hand, man, it just
you like
so amazing.
You like the Iron Man fucking gauntlet of death?
Yeah. I'm thinking, like, man, can he just like point at things and shoot stuff down? Like,
like the new Giant Awakening?
Dude, I was trying to get them to install laser beams instead of fingers, you know?
But you should have just installed like a mouse just used for that fucking hand that could still work.
Oh, that would have made more sense. Fuck yeah. All right, guys. So we got tons of fun stuff in store for you this week. Thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate it. And like we said, you know what? We're building this. It's one step at a time. So we'll go ahead and we're going to get topics started today. Let's start off with talking about the combat system. Sorry, it's going to, you know, got a mouse and tab and shit, and it's not working properly. So I want to go through the combat system. Let's talk to each of our panel and see exactly just how the combat works, what you guys like about it, and let's go with one thing that you would change if you could. Buzz, I'm going to start off with you today.
Okay. We'll go ahead and start off with the one thing to change if we could. Have a dedicated healer. I've got friends that enjoy playing healing, and that's one of the things that, you know, hoping might be coming with the weapon awakenings, seeing as how the wizard and witch have the healing ability. And I know that with the viewers of my stream, we've been talking about it. What I would really love to see is maybe reduce the damage output of the wizard and witch to give them more of healing. And I think in order to make it fair or balanced, they shouldn't be able to heal themselves, but heal people in the party and people they're grouped with, or say if it's in the siege type of thing, because you don't want to end up having a wizard being able to quick switch and basically become a healing battery and keep themselves up and being super tanky. So if the one thing I would want to change, it would be that. What I love about it is, and I'm sure everybody else will be in agreement, it's not tap targeting. We've got the action combat, the flow, the pace. It's, you know, it's not the traditional clone games. It's been out to where you tab and then you roll your face. So that's what I'd say that, you know, really stands out and what I enjoy the most about it. The other thing, as far as with all the different classes, each different class seems to play unique and different. That's another thing that's I enjoy.
So what you're really telling me, though, is that you don't want to see wizards be like the ultimate destroy everything.
I didn't. Exactly. I don't want any class to be, you know, the one go-to class. And that's one of the concerns I have that people saw in Alpha, that I think the last major balance that Pearl Abyss did was back around June when they brought the Tamer and Blader back down to Earth. Hopefully there will be a full balance before launch. The other thing that I really think needs to be addressed as far as in combat is mounted combat. What was shown and demonstrated in Alpha and what a lot of people that haven't played in Korea saw was wizards running around on horses, spamming potions, being immune, and that's not what the end game is. That's not what, Black Desert really is. So I was disappointed in that, but hopefully they'll address that and will make it more, the mounted combat side of it more balanced.
Awesome. Can you take a minute to say what's up to CM Joska? Welcome to our little project. It's nice to see more community coming in. So yeah, no, fuck, I'm all pain drugged. I'm gonna jump things up just to get a new perspective. Kinu, what are your thoughts on the combat system? Do you have any?
The combat system, from what I played, it's very new to me. This game itself was new when I came in, and this combat system, I've never actually had a chance to actually play with something like this. It feels very, very fluid to me. I enjoy it quite a bit. I did jump on the bandwagon using the wizard, of course. It was extremely fun. And I did, like Buzz was saying, I did feel like a god. I could heal myself, get my mana back in an instant, and just go back and wreck anything I was going towards. I mean, it was really, really fun. A couple things, though, that I didn't like. I will say that the wizard, it was way too strong. It is something I think that is going to eventually be balanced out. I didn't get to play the Blader. People said that the Blader used to be very, very strong, if I'm not mistaken. And I didn't get a chance to play with that. I did it as it was changed. And it felt very, like you said, down to earth. It felt very balanced in the sense of what I could do with it. I wasn't a god that could just go through and slice through anything in the world. But it was still really fun. Now, the combat system, like I said, was very new to me. And if you guys aren't used to the combat system, it is going to take time to get used to. That's just it. You have to learn the different techniques. If I'm not mistaken, for you veteran players, you can back me up on this, but there's certain combinations that you can do to, like, for instance, get rid of a cooldown or to set off a different type of skill as you're kind of stacking skills together. Am I mistaken in that? Or because, like, for instance, a blizzard, I was canceling out any type of cast time for that.
Yeah, you can definitely do cancel. They're basically cancel animations, and you can cancel certain things. Every class has one. From bladers being able to cancel out their power up thing when they switch to dual blades. Rangers being able to cancel their cutthroat arrows. Every class has some type of cancel animation.
Hey, it was very interesting to me too. It makes combat system in itself a little bit more exciting, I think. Like you said, the tab targeting, you tag on one person, you can backflip around, move around, just cast fireball, it goes straight there. On this, you don't. You actually have to be skilled in combat, know the distance that you have to be able to do something. So it is a very different game for most MMOs, but it's something very exciting I think everybody's going to enjoy. Now, as for things that I want to change, I don't have as much experience in this game yet. I'm not sure that I've seen too much that I want to change yet. But I'm sure as I play, there's going to be many things that I'd like to change.
Yeah, I think that's a fair enough assumption. I mean, you and I are pretty much on the same playing field when it comes to our experience in the game. With that being said, I can't wait to actually get into some of the other classes and see what they can do. I mean, I think I've rolled a Sork for maybe 30 levels in alpha, and it was fucking, there were moments where I was like, holy shit, I can stomp the bejesus out of a lot of stuff, and then in other moments it was just like, what am I doing? There's definitely no face rolling. I haven't been able to find it, if there is. Zemi, what are your takeaways? Rise and shine, boy. What are your takeaways from the combat system?
I love the combat system. Just kind of touch on what Kenny said about the blader. Yeah, old school blader was fairly broken. I played it when it first came out, and I could dive into 10, 15, 20 people and just be like, look at me, I'm untouchable. And especially when you stacked a bunch of evasion on top of your passive evasion, and yeah, you just were unhittable. But yeah, no, the combat system is great. I love the combat system. It's actually one of the most favorite things about the game that I love. And the one thing I would definitely change, though, and this is more of a PvP standpoint. Now, as you know, I'm a big PvPer in this game, and I would say the one thing I would love to see in this game is some type. It only needs to be one, and it can be on a decent cooldown. But I would love to see them add an ability for every class to have some type of CC break or CC immunity type thing. I would love to see that because it does get to a point where, there are some times where you just get CC chained to shit, you can't do anything, then your stun gauge kicks in and you're just like, what's going on, man? I can't do anything. And it's fairly aggravating. It's slightly what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't help, or it does help, I guess, that you can pot spam, but I don't want to see pot spam in the game. I would love to see a longer cooldown. I know they actually implemented a increased timer to the CBT one, which is really, really nice. It's one of the things I'm glad to see that they did. But I would love to see them to A, increase the timer even longer, and B, I would love to see them come out with a breakout skill for every class. But I know that's a lot of coding. I know that's a lot of change to the classes, so I'm not 100% expecting it, but it would be nice to see.
All right, and that's the thing is like where we're coming into this, and there is still a lot of expansion in the game. We don't know what we're going to see. With the community that we have founded and that I've seen talking so far about this, it seems that there is some takeaway from it, and I like that aspect.
Oh yeah, for sure.
With that being said, dude, I'm still in awe with this game, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon.
Yeah, I love the game. I've been playing the game for a year. It was actually a year, late last month is how long I've been playing this game. I do love it. I love every bit of it. I have taken a bit of a break, and I know people have been poking me about that, like, why aren't you playing the KR version? And part of it is because I'm getting prepped for CBT1, and I just want to take a break. Because I do want to play this game. I love this game. It's the only game I've been looking forward to since, I think, Archeage Alpha. So, I've been waiting for this game for a very, very long time. And one of the reasons is the combat system. The combat system is absolutely amazing.
I can't agree with you more on that front. Ghost, what is...
Well, yeah.
Yeah, what is your thoughts on the whole combat?
My thoughts on it is the combat system's amazing. It's very smooth, but like Zemi said, the whole CC stuff. Like I personally play a giant, and we go in there in the middle of everything, and I can sit on the ground for about 5 minutes and just die, like because you're constantly being knocked down. One cool thing that they added in the most recent patch is you can't be affected by multiple knockdowns in a row. So it takes like 1 to 2 seconds before you can be affected by the same CC again. So that'll be interesting to see how that ends up playing out. Now that does ruin like the 1v1 aspect for Sorks, because they can't just combo people now. People can actually stand up and run around and fight back, which will, I guess, in a way ruin 1v1 PvP, but it'll make group combat a lot better.
Okay, so basically the crowd control seems to be a common denominator right now.
Yeah. It's a huge thing for like large sieges.
Yeah, sieges is really, really, really important because you can just sit there and be laid on the ground. I mean, and you can pot spam through it beyond belief. Get the big boy pots, 2-second cooldown, and just spam the shit out of that. And, it's not really a fun gameplay in that point, because it's like, oh, well, all I'm doing is spamming this one button just to stay alive. I'm not moving. I can't move because I'm getting CC trained. And so it's just like, what the fuck? Like, there are some times where I'm just like, screw it, I'm not even gonna pot spam. I'll just die and run back, because at least at that point, then I'll be able to, actually do something.
Yeah, and I haven't gotten into that point of the game where I've been able to experience that yet. One thing though that I find curious, what is the relative effect you in when it comes down to say your ping versus your combat action?
So how that ends up working is a lot of it is like client based from my personal experience. So basically you input your actions into your client and then it sends that information to the server. Now that can cause issues with desync. For example, if you grab somebody but then their position will update because that's not their real position, because it's updating based on the time it takes from their client to the server.
Yeah, I was going to say I had a little bit of experience with Giant also, and playing on the Korean server, I found it really frustrating. My ping to Korea averages about 240 milliseconds, but on my screen, I see that I'm grabbing the player. I have them over my head, about ready to slam them. And then all of us, the next instance, they're 5 feet behind me, and they're grabbing me and slamming me down. And it's because of that desync issue. And I think that's just the nature of an action-based combat system where ping is going to be really critical, especially with melee classes.
Well, just to kind of point this out, and a lot of you guys aren't going to notice this until you go over to the NA version, but coming from somebody who does play with 30 ping from the KR servers, it's not just your ping, I promise you. There is something with the net coding there, and it is very obvious. Grabs have an issue in the game from just in general. I played Giant, I played Warrior, I played Tamer, and I played Kanoichi, all with grabs, and it even with 30 ping going up against other Koreans with just as little ping or even less as me, there are problems where grabbing is an issue in the combat system. And when it comes to PvP, I'm assuming it's because what Ghost said with the whole it is client side and then gets sent to the servers. So therefore there is a bit of a travel time in where you're going to press the button, and I've had it happen plenty of times where I'll go to grab and my grab isn't resisted, they aren't iframing out of it, and people are still porting out of my hands, and they are Korean players, so it's just like, what the hell. I've talked to a lot of Korean players, and they, especially with Giants, they're fairly upset with the whole grabbing, especially when you're trying to chain grab. There will be a desync issue.
All right, I'm gonna pose a question to you guys, just something that I just noticed going through the chat. What's everybody's topic thought on the Ranger class? Because I know that it hasn't been discussed previously, and I can already see the smiles going. Yeah. Good topic.
If I may. So people misunderstand Rangers. They're not super OP. It's just they end up overgearing people a lot of the time. Like personally, as a Giant, when I'm going evenly geared against people, like I've dueled several Rangers, Korean Rangers as well, and when I'm about the same gear level as them, I easily win. It's not even like a chance, because I have so much like mobility that I just stomp on them and then they just die because they're basically glass cannons. What a lot of people don't understand is that archers, they don't focus on defense at all. They go pure damage, whereas other classes they have to deal with both defense and damage. So they end up losing out on their pure damage, but they end up gaining more defense. But that's why you notice like people getting nuked by archers, which then everyone claims them they're like super OP, but they just really aren't. They're just stacking a lot of damage. Their damage does scale very nicely though, with their whole like based on their HP or whatever it works. I forget. I don't know. Zemi might know a little bit more about that. The whole HP per hit thing.
So there are built-in talents in the Ranger class specifically for your backflip and for your Q spam, where once you hit, I believe it's like 37, I want to say, or 42, I can't remember the exact level, but you put it in the talent and you gain a percentage of your HP that goes into damage, and so therefore you will actually do more damage. So you're stacking damage on top of, as well as going for HP. You go for HP gems. Whale earrings are very, very good as well, because you'll go for like the 5 damage plus the 100 HP, which is double damage basically. That's what you're doing. And the reason why Rangers don't stack defense is Rangers have the lowest defense to armor ratio in the game. So, I could have 200 defense, and a giant can have 200 defense, because giants are one of the Valks and giants have the highest defense to armor ratio, and the giant will take less damage than I will, because just of how the ratio works, and so therefore that becomes an issue. In regards to just people complaining about how OP Rangers are, they are strong. Don't get me wrong. When it comes to damage output and in sieges, they're really good, because they can spam Feather in the Wind. They can cause a lot of AOE knockdown and things like that, which is nice. But if you play smart and you set up smart, you can wreck a group that's just in full Rangers, because they're not going to survive. But what you need to do is be able to counteract that, get behind the lines, get onto them, and cause pressure. And just like Ghost said, like, some of the people who are complaining about these Rangers, about how much damage they do, they don't understand. Like, a lot of the Korean Rangers especially are running 180 to 200 damage easy.
Oh, more than
And
that, 300.
yeah, and so, that's a lot of damage, and it doesn't matter what class it is. If you got 300 damage, you're going to wreck somebody. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. If you have 300 damage, you are going to destroy people.
All right, Buzz, I know you had something to chime in on that fact.
Yeah, what I mainly wanted to comment, and Ghost was talking about his experience dueling in 1v1. I think that where the Rangers really shine, and Zimmy brought that out, is in the sieges. I know the experiences that we had, if you guys remember when we did the Suicide Hill climb, and they had the high ground, and it was classic. They had a large group of Rangers, and they just rained down with their AoE knockdowns and everything, and basically whittled us down. Then they had a group of giants that came running down the hill, spin to win, and just finished us off. And it was a rinse and repeat constantly. And I'm not saying their OP nerf them, but that's one of the major strengths that I see with Rangers, is when it comes to siege and large scale open world PvP. But like Zimmy said, if it's just a group of Rangers, they're going to get wrecked. They need to have support and balance. They have to have some type of meat shield or somebody to defend and protect them as, a barrier wall, so they can put their pressure on.
All right.
Well, one thing I want to say is that, so I usually fight against a Sork who has 200 damage, and I have about 300 defense at this point, and he's taken his gear down to like 125 at one point, and he still melts me. I mean, I think that there's definitely an issue with how damage scales compared to how defense scales.
All right. I'm just going to take a brief minute to say thank you to everybody who's hosting the show. We appreciate it. And if you haven't already, jump on down there, click the follow, make sure you follow the stream. We'll be doing this as a weekly show, same time, same channel, bringing it to you. Gonna move on. Let's get some conversation going on the metrics of solo play versus group play. I know there's a ton of different activities for both. Let's dive into some of that. And let's talk about who enjoys what in that aspect. Kinu, I'm going to start with you.
I can definitely say, for the most part of what I played, I enjoyed a lot of the solo play, mainly because I'm greedy. I enjoy being able to go there and farm what I want to farm and not have to share any of the loot. I mean, it's very, very fun in that sense. The group play system, I know some of it that is needed. For instance, if I'm not mistaken, taking down some of the bosses that you get for the summon scrolls, or what they are. Like I said, it's very fun on that. I haven't had much experience in the group play yet. I've been just doing a lot of solo stuff. But besides that, the only other solo things that I've done, of course, is just the exploration, in the sense of finding the knowledge bases, exploring new areas and stuff like that. For the group play, I'm not 100% sure of what all you can do with the group play yet. If someone could inform me or anybody else, a whole bunch of things that you can do with a group play.
All right, I'm gonna chime in on that. In all honesty, my only experience with group play was when Griv helped me take down a fucking mob. That was it. I know that you guys have a lot more experience in that aspect. My solo playtime though was phenomenal. I mean, there's not a whole lot that takes away from it. If you like questing, I like it. It helps with a lot of the stuff that we'll talk about in our next topic. Other than that, Zemi, what's your preferred, and what are your looks on it?
I mean, the solo play is fun. You're gonna end up spending a lot of your time grinding by yourself. Now they have implemented to where you can party up and gain a 0.001% increased in experience for every kill that somebody in your party gets. So if one person and it multiplies. So in other words, or not multiplies, it's additive. So if you have 5 people in your group, you'll actually get 0.005% for every kill somebody gets. So I mean that kind of adds into the whole group and grinding thing. And I think a lot of people will start doing it come CBT and stuff like that. But I would say my favorite part is definitely the group play and the group PvP and things like that. And it's really enjoyable, and sieges are very, very fun. So I love the group sieges, and guild bosses are really, really fun. Some we'll go into next. But I love the guild bosses and getting the entire guild together and going over and summoning like 2 or 3 bosses at a time, and seeing who dies and laughing at them and shit, and just it's really, really fun. But I'm at the same time, I'm a more group person. I love group play. That's why I play online games anyways. If I wanted to do everything solo, then I would go play a single player game. It's why I don't play single player games that well. So
Yeah, and I'm with you on that front. I enjoy the group play aspect of a lot of games too. I think that's like just in recently a lot of the games that I have been playing to kill some time have been single player, and it's not nearly as much fun, right? Like you're like, "Oh man, you should be able to see this, check that out," and shit like that, and it takes away from that
Yeah.
that group aspect. We are a community. We game together for that reason, right?
yeah, exactly.
Well, actually, on top, like dealing with group play, the other day I joined a party with JS, and so during double XP I got about like 0.0005%, right, per kill, and with him in the party I was getting like maybe 2 compared to that 5, so a little bit, half, but at the rate that we were killing them, it was a little bit more worth it. I heard that they changed the system to allow it for better party XP, but honestly, I think the only way to really make it so that group play is worth it is in some way like create some kind of like instant loot system so that each person gets their own type of loot. I'm not sure how they would do that, but or put back in the party bag system as well. That was really cool. Fix XP values. I mean, it's not worth it grinding in a party like past even 20. Like the XP values just get destroyed. I mean, I tried grinding with a buddy of mine back like in the level 40 when the game like first came out, and it was horrible. It was so slow.
Does it cut it down below like 50% that you normally gain, or does it just completely destroy it?
It's like 50%, but already you're getting like a little bit of like XP, and you can pretty much just farm the mods pretty much fine by yourself. There really isn't much point partying up unless you're going for like, mods that are like 10 plus levels, but those don't usually give a lot of XP anyways.
Yeah. Buzz, what's your takeaway on it?
Well, I think you have to consider, based off my observations, the game was designed to be casual friendly. So that's the reason why there's no dedicated healers, and you have the healing potions. So a casual player can log on, do some quests, do dailies, do a little grinding, and then log off. Um, it's been my experience that all through Media, there really is no reason or need to party. There's no mobs or any encounters that are too difficult. Yeah, once you hit level 50 and you start getting your some daily quests, and then with your weekly scrolls, you may need help. But within a week or two, if you're working on your gear, you can easily solo them. Uh, I think that the answer, well, still on that train of thought, with Valencia though, that's when the challenge really started. It's you couldn't. I remember first time I went out there, I had plus 16 yellow gear, and I'm like, okay, let's do it. And I just got destroyed by the centaurs and the nagas, and it was like, okay, this is now a challenge. And I found that to make it easier and safer, because the penalty, the experience loss when you die, the progress that you've spent to try to, especially once you hit 55, you can have hours of grinding just wiped out. So I guess it goes back to originally what I said. If you could have a class that would be a dedicated healer, and that's one of the things I enjoy when we were doing a guild mission in Valencia, and I was playing my wizard, and I was doing damage, but I was also focusing on healing and keeping people up. And let me tell you, it's a challenge to do the single player heal, because you have to put the crosshairs on them and cast it. And especially when you're trying to heal a blader or a Canucci, a class that has to rely on in and out. But I would call out on TeamSpeak when I was going to be doing my lighthouse, so they would know to close in, and I'd let them know what my cooldowns were like. So I'd like to see maybe having stronger heals would, I think, encourage it. And I think the other thing that would encourage group play is to increase that experience bonus. I remember back in EverQuest, it used to scale a lot more than that. That if you had a full party, you were getting a lot more experience. And I think that would be a benefit. They started taking those steps. If you guys remember with the like the weekly scrolls and the disco scrolls, it used to be that the only person that got loot was the person that summoned the scroll. And then they started allowing anybody that's in the party would be able to start getting loot. So that was the first step, to incentivize. It's like, hey, let's go out and help people. Plus, it's quicker to knock them out. I think as far as on the grind aspect, to increase the amount of experience, because like what Ghost and Zimmy and everybody said, there's really no benefit to be in a group. It actually slows you down. And I think that's too bad, because that's, why do we play an MMO? It's a social game. We're in guilds, we're in communities. If you just wanted to go out and spend all your time alone, play Skyrim, play Fallout.
See, that's kind of what I was getting at. It seemed to just get me with the loot style. The only times that I ever partied up really is we go and fish together or something in the game. I mean, that right there, you can group together and it ain't going to affect anything. It's still fun. It's just the main thing that you're going to be doing, grinding, just seems gimped a little bit.
All right, Zemi, I know that you had something to add in about the low-level party.
Yeah. So I just kind of want to go like, it's not exactly what I was going at, was that there was no reason at all. I mean, like I said, you do get you do get extra experience being in a party, and the idea of being in a party, and me and a bunch of my buddies, early on, in OBT, like I'm talking couple weeks when it started, what we did was we did figure out, like, if you are wanting to be in a party, you can party and you can still get as much, if not more, experience as you could solo partying. But the thing is what you need to do is, okay, so you can only pull 8 mobs at a time, right? Before mobs start ignoring you, correct?
It's like 7, but yeah.
Yeah, so 7 or 8. So what you need to do is, if you have 2 people in your party, you need to be grabbing 14 mobs at a time. And then if you're 3, then it's 21, etc. Go on and go on. And so you're gonna get that. So you get all the experience you would as if you were soloing, and then you would also get the 0.001% per member in the party. So there is benefit to it, especially if you can kill those groups together, and you can do it fast and you can do it quickly, especially say you got AoE classes. There is actually a benefit to that if you can kill them fast enough. That being said, you've also got the party loot. And that's another thing that I definitely want to mention is the party loot's actually really, really good because especially you can end up getting gear for yourself, or you can be like, oh, well, I don't need that. Maybe you need that. Okay, well, you can have that. So there is some benefits to being a party. Is it like typical other MMOs where you get a lot bigger benefits? Of course not. No. Can you do a lot of things solo? Yes, 100% agreed to that. But there are a little bit, it's not major, but there are a little bit of benefits of being in a party.
All right. So what about the golems and media? Like, would you consider them group relevant? I mean, you kill them, mine them for advanced stones.
Yeah, you definitely. Not to mention they are a pain in the ass to kill. So, doing that, if you're not doing it for experience, then yeah, it's definitely worth doing it. And there are some mobs that are worth doing it. Like, for instance, Buzz mentioned the media scrolls and things like that for the books, the taboo books, and the stuff for Valencia and whatnot. Those are definitely worth doing in a party, like 100%. Even the disco balls in Calpheon, those are definitely 100% to do it in party because those things not only is the player that's summoning them getting the loot from their little quest turn in, but your group is also getting benefit out of it too by getting the fragments and stuff like that. I mean, just showing up, our guild does them together, and you can make a good, even with no scrolls, you can easily make a couple million just not being the one that's summoning anything.
Now the disco balls, if I'm not mistaken, that's one where there's multiple spawns, correct? You kill one group.
Yeah.
And then... Yeah, that sucks alone. I found that out. I didn't know what it was.
You can still do it solo if you've got the gear. You can definitely still do it solo, but at the same time, it's definitely beneficial to do it as a group.
All right, Buzz, you had something to say on that?
Yeah, just real quick. I really hope that they reconsider and bring back the temporary loot bag for the West. Just like, for example, the tokens and the items to make the scrolls. That was one of the things that was really nice. To say you're partied with somebody and somebody has 4 and they need 1 more. It's like, okay, go ahead and pull it from the, they get theirs, then they finish their scroll, then somebody else can work on getting a scroll. That was just so nice, and I think that's another thing that encourages grouping together. Whether it's you're helping a friend, helping somebody that's new to the game, if you've already got gear and you're not needing black stones, then they can get the black stones while you're grouping, or they can get the items to make the scrolls. I just really hope that they bring that feature back.
Sounds like something that would increase group party system in that sense, then.
Oh, it is. It was a great thing, and I just want to be on record that I really hope they bring that back. It was a good thing.
All right. So let's move on here. Let's dive back down the rabbit hole. Let's go into some clan versus guild conversation. I know everybody kind of cringes at it. But what are your main takeaways on guild structuring and how the guilds are operated inside Black Desert? Ghost, I'm going to start with you on this one.
Sorry, what was the question again?
Seriously, Ghost? I'm gonna revoke your beard. I'm gonna revoke your beard card soon.
It's fucked up.
Okay,
Okay, so I think that the guild systems are pretty good as they are. I like how they limit the amount that you're allowed to have for the guilds up to 100, and you have to upgrade that based on the skill points you get. The way you get skill points is from people just grinding, killing mobs, or just doing quests. I think that's really cool because it really just adds that extra effect that you're actually contributing constantly to the guild to build it towards something. And the guild skills can be used for multiple things, and those guild skills actually add a reason to be in a guild. You get like increased accuracy by 5, increased damage by 5, increased HP by 100, all these cool stats. Now, the difference between guilds and clans is, clans, I think the limit's like 20. You can't increase it, you can't do any kind of guild quests, you don't have any kind of guild bank, you can't distribute any kind of payment. It's more of a less like, hey, we have a few friends we can invite, let's just hang out. There's not real much, there's nothing you can really do with a actual clan. They can't participate in sieges or nodes or any kind of guild wars. It's just more or less, I guess, a placeholder for anyone who doesn't make a guild just yet.
All right. Kinu.
In terms of the clan, though, like what you were saying, the 20 limit and all that, besides a placeholder, is there really a need for a clan? I mean, if I'm not mistaken, if you leave a clan or whatnot, you don't have that, like when you leave a guild, you can't join a guild for a day or something like that.
I'm not
You
sure
have
about
that same?
clans. So, I'm not sure about clans, if they have that 24-hour cooldown or not. I want to say no, but I've never actually tried it, because there's not real much relevance for clans, I guess. One purpose for clans will be for, like, if you just want to have a small group of friends to have a separate chat place for.
And you can only be in a guild or a clan, correct? You can't be in a clan and a guild,
Yeah,
or can
you
you
can
be in
only
both?
be in one
Okay.
throughout
now-
all your characters, because it's bound by
Yeah.
family.
Just to comment real quick, yeah, there is a 24-hour cooldown if you leave a clan and try to join a guild. There's still that 24-hour cooldown. It happened to me when I was trying to invite somebody. At least it used to be. I don't know if they've changed it, but I'm like 100% sure, or I was 100% sure when that happened, and it was because of that they had dissolved their clan to join support, and they had a 24-hour cooldown. So,
All right. So I'm going to take something here. I just noticed in some scrolling chat, somebody was asking about what's the point of a guild. Who wants to address that one?
I mean, I can, I guess. Okay, so the point of a guild is you gain a lot of benefits of being in a guild. The more your guild does PvE and stuff like that, or even PvP, the more benefits you gain of being in a guild. Let's, I guess, just kind of address the PvE portion. So, as Ghost was saying, guilds have quests, these special quests that they gain that you can only get if you're in a guild. They're trading, or they're kill quests, or they are gathering quests. Those are the 3 types that you can do. And guild pays a little bit of money, and they can then do this quest. They have a certain timer to do it, and they go ahead and get the once they're finished, the guild bank gets more money, and you also gain experience. Your guild gains experience, and the more experience you gain, you end up actually unlocking skill points, as Ghost was saying earlier. And these skill points can then put into guild skills. And these guild skills can be, just as Ghost was saying, extra damage, extra defense, accuracy, PvP siege damage, siege defense, something to do with trading, I think, fishing, and I want to say something else, but I cannot remember because we never actually got those.
Gathering.
I think it's gathering. And then you also could unlock these special abilities that were on like some ridiculous cooldown that gave you increased
11 hours.
What was the buff that it gave?
No idea. One of them's a teleport. One of them is like increased luck rate by 2.
There's the experience.
The other one's 10% increased combat skill experience, and then
that's
combat and life experience increase. There's a few.
So you get that, and as long as you're on contract with the guild, you gain those buffs. Then let's go into that. You have contracts. So each player will have their own contract being in a guild at a certain time frame, depending on how the GM wants to set it up, whether it's 14 days, 30 days, whatever. And during that time, every day on the midnight hour, you can withdraw money. So basically, the guild is paying you out of the guild bank a certain fee. I think right now, the most I've ever actually heard was, I believe, one of the Korean guilds was paying a couple of their members, not all of them, but a couple of their members for like a couple million a day. So normally, I think what we did was, we were 300k a day or something like that. So as long as you were active, and GMs can put stipulations on it, like you got to show up to sieges and things like that, and you can get into special stuff. It's kind of like a benefit thing. And then you've also got guild bosses that are only guild available, and those are just like kill quests. What you'll do is you'll kill them, and then you'll get a summoning thing where you can then summon the boss, and those can give you like Lavertos and things like that. Or what is it, Neil Tree armor? I forgot what the English version of it's called, but the Neil Tree armor, as well as hunter's marks and silver. And then, of course, being in a guild also allows you to be in sieges and in node wars. And if a guild wins a siege specifically, a territory siege, not a node wars, it does not work for node wars, it's only sieges. If a guild owns a territory, they are allowed one payment that will take 30% of whatever's in the guild bank and equally distribute it across the guild. Everyone has to get paid no matter what. So it's really, really nice. So, yeah, I think that's about it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Ghost, I know you got to dip out. Thanks for joining us again.
The Asian's back.
The fat Asian kid is back.
So happy.
Oh, it's my favorite time of the stream. Jesus Christ.
So, from what I'm getting from you, then, is basically there's no reason not to make a guild of your 20 friends, then, correct? A lot of people are saying that a clan is